Hello YouTube, welcome back to another video. Something a bit different today, but in the workshop. So, starting the game room build. And unfortunately, I can't find anything that will fit the consoles on the way I want them. So we're having to go custom, we're going to have to build something. Mainly the reason I can't find something is I can't get the right width. So the cube units from IKEA, I'd probably be able to make do with those if it weren't for one console. I know from experience that the cube units from IKEA are 366mm wide, and the Master System Model 1 is 370mm wide. It don't fit. It don't fit in them. So yeah, one console basically is making me have to rebuild and design something from scratch. It's not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. I'm not a joiner. I'm not a carpenter. All like that. But how hard can it be? I've built stuff out of wood before. Never built furniture, as in furniture that's going to be on display. I've built workbenches and shit like that. You know, where it doesn't matter if you've got screws showing and all the rest of it. Piece of piss then, mate. You just smash a bit of wood together. But building something like this, I want it to actually look like a bought piece of furniture. So I don't want any screws or all like that showing. I'm going to use the proper furniture connectors. So yeah, we'll just do it. I've got an idea in my head. I've sketched it out. Like I say, I'm not a joiner, but I am a welder by trade. I don't do it anymore, but that's what I am by. If I had to, you know, like say what my trade was, what I actually learned to do, I'm a welder. So I have an idea how to measure, how to cut, how to put stuff together. Not an issue. The only difference is, if you fuck up with metal, you just make your weld a bit wider. You fuck up with wood, you're starting again. And it ain't cheap, is it, wood? So yeah, I've got a sketch. Basically, it's going to be a unit that can hold 12 consoles on it, in it, should I say, not on it, in it. So we're going to make them 370mm apart, and we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 shelves. So 12 altogether. And that should be it. It should be as simple as screwing some wood together. So, without further ado, I'm just going to get measuring. Let's see what happens. So yeah, I've got 3 bits of wood. Chipboard, melamine covered in oak effects. Nice stuff. And I've just measured my first one out. So this is my first shelf here. There's my mark. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera. And then we've got 18mm. That's for the upright. Go in between them to make it into a nice little, won't be squares, they'll be rectangles. And then I'm going to do it again, and again, and again. So you can see here I've measured 18 and I've put a centre point. That's so I know where to drill for like the batons and the screws and stuff like that I'm putting between it. Not batons, what are they called? Them little wooden plug things. Like I say, I'm not a joiner. Dowels, that's the word I'm thinking of. So we'll just move on again, 370. Make sure we're nice and lined up here. And mark 9. Mark 18. Get a square. And all these tools, I know the true, I know the square. If you want to find out if your square is square, it's quite simple. Once you use a sharp pencil. But yeah, if you want to find out if your square is square, mark a line, flip it over. If it moves up to the line, it's square. Easy as. Right, so I'm going to mark that up, both sides, all along. I'm only going to mark up my centre line all the way across them, but I'm going to use that to transfer. So I'll transfer down from there. And I know all 3 sheets are all lined up at one end. I've checked that they're square as well. And I've got the same marks on every sheet then. So I've no idea if this is how a joiner would do it. But yeah, this isn't a how to, it's a let's do. So if you want a how to, go watch a video of someone who knows what the fuck you're doing. I ain't got a clue. But yeah, I'll mark this up and then we'll get ready to cut. Right, so that's them all marked up. So here's my cut line. And my calculations here say that should be 1534. We are 1534, 35. So tiny bit over. It don't really matter, doesn't that? Yeah, it's the same on both sides. That's what really matters. So with pencil lines, I'm probably losing a little bit here and there. I'm not bothered if it's a bit longer. Either end, it don't really matter. As long as all my three parts match up. When I cut my top piece, I'm going to cut it to the actual length of this board plus the two end sections. So if I'm a mill out here and there, I'm not that bothered. I'll make it work. So now I have to get this cut. So all I've got is a circular saw. Not have one of them fancy table saws, I don't like that. And I can't for the life of me remember how far off this guide is from the blade. I think it's about 30mm, something like that. So we'll measure, but you've got to measure from the tooth, because the tooth sticks out a little bit, doesn't it? So it is, let's have a gander. .32, maybe 33mm. Go for 32mm for a start. We'll see how that measures up. So get a straight edge, which I don't have, so I'll be using a. It's close enough. It's straight. It's what's the word? Come on, spirit level. That's the word I'm looking for. And we're going to clamp that up 32mm away from that mark, and then that blade should line up to there. I'm hoping this blade's deep enough to go through all three of these at once. Should be 54mm it is. I'm sure these are like 56, 57mm depth, cutting depth. Yeah, about 56mm. So it should cut through all three in once, and we've got three identical boards. That's the theory. So I'll get it clamped up, we'll get chopping. Right, so clamped in position, it were about 31mm off with that. Not 32. So we are, oh, you're in my way there, tight against there, and our line is perfectly against that. I've just checked underneath to look at the blade as well, and we are absolutely cock on there. So we're tight. Just check your straight edge is square, it's perfectly square. So last thing to do before we cut, just put a bit of masking tape over our cut line. That just stops you getting teared out basically. So when you cut melamine board, I've had it in past where I've used it, it just chips like crazy. And because I'm not using a proper melamine cutting blade, I'm always going to get a little bit of tear out, but this should minimise it. So we do that, and then we'll get it cut. I'll have to move you out of the way when I'm cutting though, because you're right in my way. Yeah, I'm not a joiner, but that should have minimised all the tear out on there. So you're still going to get a little bit, but not much at all. So yeah, awesome. This is the bottom of the piece as well, so it doesn't really matter. You're not going to see that. The top piece, like that side of it, that won't have any tear out at all on it. So cock on. There are my three shelves. Now I need to cut some sides. And this way gets a bit technical, so I haven't actually done a cut list. So we'll have to figure this one out as we go. So here's my drawing anyway. I'm just showing you this so you can see what we've just cut and what we're cutting next, because this next one's quite awkward to mark out. So we just cut that shelf, and that shelf, and that shelf. Now off the offcuts of these we need to get the two end panels, and then hopefully we've got enough to get all these little slats that go between them to make the boxes up, or rectangles, whatever. I should have done a cut list really. What we're going to do is we're going to mark these up. There should be, after my little adjustments, all these scribbles here, there should be 654mm high-ish. Like I say, I'm not bothered if they're bang on that. All that matters really is that they are exactly the same as each other. Because then I'll make all my other cuts off whatever I've got, basically. But it should work out right. So yeah, we'll get them two cut, and then we'll see how much of these slats we can get out. Or we'll probably cut the slats first because it'll make it easier to cut. But we'll mark it up and go from there. Sharpen my pencil, it's getting a bit blunt after marking all them others up. Ah, fuck off, nib snapped off. I don't know how joiners do this shit all day, every day, you know. I say I'm a welder. You can make mistakes when you're a welder. I think I need a new pencil. This is shite. Great viewing this, isn't it? Watching some geezer sharpening a pencil. Right. So our drawing says the bottom piece. So this is like the base of the unit. This is where all the plug sockets and SCART switches and stuff are all going to be underneath here. And I'm just going to have like a clip-on panel on the front just to hide it all. Hopefully I shouldn't have to go in there too often, but you never know. Yeah, so now I've got it as 120mm high. Originally I had it at 100, but when I measured all power sockets and stuff, some of them are quite bigger than bricks. So we've got 120, and then we need 9 for his middle mark, and up to 18 for the length of our wood. Tell you what, my eyesight's getting worse. I'm getting fucking old. So that's his bottom plinth. So it looks quite high, doesn't it? It's quite a big plinth, that. But you got to remember, my SCART switches, you've got a SCART switcher unit at the bottom with a SCART plug in the top of it, and then you've got like Mega Drive power packs going into sockets. So you need quite a bit of space, in all honesty. As you can see, I've clamped all the boards together as well, what I'm using. I didn't say that in the first one, did I? But it just stops them moving about. So that's where that shelf's going to go. And mark as centre line. That's the most important one, because that's where all his drills go. All the holes for the dowels and the plugs and everything else. Right, next shelf. 180mm. So this shelf is bigger than all the others. It's quite a big shelf, is this. And it needs to be bigger because the bottom shelf is where my GameCube's going. So GameCube with a Game Boy player underneath it, and being able to access the disc port on top. Although it's only a tiny little square of a fucking unit, it actually needs a hell of a lot of space to operate it, annoyingly. So that's his shelf. Then we've got his middle mark, and then his top mark. So the next shelf after this one is going to get smaller by 20mm. Next shelf's probably the most important one. It's where the daddy of all the consoles is going, the Mega Drive and the Master System, front and centre. Again, you don't need as much space. I'm giving them 160mm. You don't need as much space for a Mega Drive, Master System, any of the cartridge based stuff, but I don't want to be having to fanny around trying to squeeze the cartridges in and out of them either. So I want to make sure I've got enough room to do that comfortably. Else, why not? If you're making something custom, you make sure you've got it how you want it, don't you? Otherwise, what's the point of making it custom? You might as well just fucking buy something, haven't you? And then the top shelf, what have I got down? 140mm. So 140mm is probably overkill, to be honest with you, again. But I've measured it and that's enough. I want my NES in the top left corner, so I'm having Nintendo down the left side. And I've measured it and that's enough for the flap to open and you to get a game cartridge in and out. So that should be cock on. All the other stuff that going up there, they're all like front entry stuff, so it don't really matter. So PS2's going on top shelf, don't really matter if you can get to the top of it, stuff like that. So that should be 654mm, did I say? Oh fuck, have I done with my tape measure? I'm always losing tape measures and stuff, you know. Fucking found it. It was inside my roll of masking tape, bastard thing. It was at an angle so I couldn't see it. Right, so what did I say? 654mm. 655. So touch over again. No big deal, no big deal. I say I don't mind if I'm a little bit over as long as everything matches. So I'll just double check all these are right. 180, 160, 140, yeah. So everything measures up alright there. I say the extra like millimetre will just be where I've got my pencil lines. They're a bit thicker where I've measured up against them and stuff like that. So if you got right up against your pencil line, like in the middle of it, you're probably gaining a fraction of a millimetre every time. So yeah, I'm not bothered. As long as they all match, that's what matters. A millimetre here and there, I ain't that fussy. I'm not that kind of person. Right, so I might do a side up, get my cut lines done. I'll cut this one as well. Oh, actually, no, we're not going to cut this one yet, are we? So what we're going to do now is we're going to measure how much we've got left and see how many of us bloody panels we can get out of this piece. So we have got just over 300mm. So best use of that for no wastage. We can get a 160 shelf and a 140 shelf. That should leave us pretty much bang on. So yeah, I think we'll do that. We'll get a 160 to there. We'll get a 140. That'll leave us that perfect. Well, it might be a bit tight actually with just 300mm, so if it's cut, so it might be a bit tight, might that. Tell you what, we'll get us 3 140s out of this and us 120 out of it. Gives us a bit more waste, but I think with us cut marks, we're probably going to be a tiny bit short otherwise. And it has to be bang on 160 and 140 because they have to hold these panels together in the right position. So they have to be right. The other bits aren't as crucial, but they have to be right. Right, let's get us 140s out of it. I know it'll give us a bit of waste. We'll get like 40mm waste, but fuck it. I'd rather have 40mm waste than have it right. So yeah, let's do that. So just a little note on this one. Give it a dust. But whereas last time I was right up to that line, this time I'm at blade widths that way. Because I want to cut this side, not that side. So last time I was cutting up to the line, this time I'm cutting that way. So with a blade width further that way this time. Just to make the cut right. Right, let's get it cut. We have it, 2 pieces, 120 wide, 140 wide even. So get another one, so out of this top piece, and then we'll get us 120 out of the bottom piece, and we should be good then. That's it for these bits. So far that's my waist. Not doing too bad. I did check, I wouldn't have been able to get a 160 and a 140 out of it. I was just over. So yeah, get what you can out of what you can and worry about it afterwards. I know a proper joiner would do like a proper cut list, figure all this shit out before they bought their stock, but like I said, I'm not a joiner, so there you go. Right, so that's my side panels cut, my 3 shelves cut, and 4 of my interlocking parts to make the rectangles. So out of the other off cut from the other shelf, I need to get as many of them other interlocking parts out. I think I should be able to get I don't know, 5 of the 6 that I need out of it, and then I'll get the last one out of the lid. Right, so we'll measure them up and cut them. Don't need to see it, it's just same shit. Measuring and cutting. Right, we've cut all them little bits now. We've managed to get pretty much everything out of that other offcut. So I just need one more piece, 160 wide, and that's it. That's all my upright bits cut. So this is the last piece now, this is the lid. I'll measure this out. Well, I said last piece, we've got the plinth pieces to get out of this as well. Hopefully I can get all the 3 cuts that I still need after I get the lid. But you know what? This has been the most time consuming part so far. Yeah, I find it kind of therapeutic, you know, when I'm doing like delabeling my CEX purchases or my new buys, you know, when you're getting stickers off and cleaning them up and stuff. I don't mind doing that. But I really am not enjoying doing it on this piece of wood. It seems to take forever and all, it's just, it won't come off in a one, it just keeps peeling away. Piece of shit. So yeah, I've had to buy this from B&Q. I generally won't go near B&Q for wood. They've cut it from like the bentest pieces of lumber they can find normally. But when it comes to melamine coloured stuff, so this shit, it's the only place that sells it round by me. And I wasn't doing a 45-minute drive just to get some from somewhere else when I've got a B&Q 5-minute drive from my house. So normally I'll go, we've got a lumberyard quite near me for pressure treated and all that sort of shit. And I use quite a lot of that, because we've got a field at back and horses are always knocking the shit out of that fencing, so I'm always having to replace bits of that. And as I said, built chicken coops, fencing, gates, all that sort of shit. I'm always building stuff out of wood. Just never out like this, you know, where you've got to hide all your screw fittings and all your fixings. Normally I'm just chucking stuff together, banging screws in everywhere, make sure it's solid, don't care what it looks like as long as it's functional. So yeah, it's kind of different is this. But hopefully it'll look alright. If it don't, it done. I'm not buying out else. Whatever it looks like when it's done, that's what it looks like. So, we'll get one of the shelves and put it on here. We'll mark out for the lid. And then we're pretty much done. Fingers crossed. Right, so I've marked 18mm up at that end. I'm just using a board at the minute just to like double check it. I'll get some pencil marks. Now I'll transfer all these marks over, give it a proper measure rather than just pieces of wood. It gives me a rough idea, at least I've got something to work to then, because I've lost my fucking pencil again. Right, back pocket. At least I've got something to work to. So like I said, that measurement isn't exactly the same as that one. And it doesn't really matter as long as it all actually adds up. And you've got the pieces, doesn't it? So we've got some rough marks on them. So we'll transfer these over. We'll measure it all up and see what we're actually like. We are good. Measured up. Again, we're within a millimetre, so all good there. And after I've made this cut, I'll do my 160 piece, and I should have enough by about 5mm to get the 2 plinths out of here. So it's all worked out alright. I don't have to buy another bit of wood. I guesstimated it quite well. So I'll get these 2 cut, and then let's get some drilling done. Marking up for dowels and all them furniture connectors and stuff. Let's go for it. That camera's actually covered in sawdust. I probably should have a bit cleaner in here first. Anyway, on the drilling now. So to fix it together, I'm going to be using a combination of normal screws, where you can't see them on the upright parts. Wooden dowels, you know what them look like, 8mm them ones. And then these things. I have no idea what these are actually called. I'm sure you all know what they are though. So, I'll look behind the camera, make sure I can see them. Them things, you know what, you put IKEA furniture together. Put a screw in, and you drill them and pull them together. Right. Never used these before. look like a bit of a bastard to fit. So we will find out, won't we? We're going to start with lid. I don't actually need any of these for the lid. Well, I do. I need 2 of these. I don't need to drill any of these other holes on the side on the lid though. So most of the lid is going to be wooden dowels. It's going to be plonked on top, and I'm just going to glue it all, and it should sit nicely. Fingers crossed. If it don't, it don't. We'll figure something else out. It's as easy as that. Yeah, it should sit nicely. Right, so we'll get our little jig thing wherever it's gone. So I've got this jig. Had it a while. Never used it though. Bought it for another project. Like you do, you buy tools, and then I did something else in the end. So this is for making sure your dowels go right, you clamp it together, etc, etc. Line all your dowels up, and it's also for fitting them other furniture screw type things. This side puts the hole in it somehow, but I haven't actually figured out how it works yet, so we'll do that in a minute. First of all, I don't need this part for this. I'm drilling for wooden dowels. Now I just need to make sure I don't go too deep, basically. But we've got a line on side. Again, I've never used one of these, so I'm not a joiner or like that. If you want a tutorial, go find the tutorial. I'm guesstimating. But that centre line I've marked all the way down, where I'm putting my stanchions, I'm just going to line that up with it, clamp it in place on the edge, and use these as my guides for my plugs, which are 8mm. And I believe they're 8mm as well. Let's check. It does come with like drill bits with depth gauges on them and stuff like that, does this kit and all. It's quite good actually. See, I bought it a while back. I'm going to build something, I can't remember what it was now. But my wife changed her mind on what she wanted. Yeah, so I think they had 8mm as well. So, yeah. Use that, clamp it in place. And if I always clamp to the edge, then it should transfer over to the other pieces quite easily, shouldn't it? So every piece where I have to drill for these, if I clamp into the edge, just use it the same on other bit. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to put 4 dowels in each of these uprights. Apart from the end bits we're only going to use 1 on either side, and that's because we're going to use them furniture clamps as well. Anyway, let's get on with it. Right, so I've set depth gauge on that to 40mm. I'm just going to do a test drill first on this bit of scrap that I've got left. Make sure I don't go through. See what that looks like. So I know 40mm sounds a lot, but that's quite a thick unit, isn't it, that? Yeah, we ain't gone through. We're quite deep into there. Oh, not the camera. I've got to be able to see that. So yeah, I reckon that'll do. Quite a tight squeeze of these, aren't they? Let's see how far in it goes. I've got plenty of these, so let's smash them in. See what we get. So yeah, we're a decent way in there, aren't we? So yeah, 40mm. Let's do it. So as I said, I'm going to line these up with the edge. They're going to make sure they're square on both sides, which they are. 2 clamps on. I love these cheap clamps, they're awesome. Got loads of like proper G clamps and stuff like that. What I use when I'm fannying about with cars and I need something a bit more substantial. These cheap things are so quick to use, the base. So I'm going to put 1 there, same on the other side. So let's hope no smooth. That's that side done. Same on the other side. And that's his first drill's done. So I'll go around and do all them, and then we'll figure out how we use them furniture screws and we'll get them fitted in. But yeah, a sensible man would have started on something that wasn't the top piece, which is going to be on show just in case they fucked it up. But never have I once Being accused of being sensible. Right, we're just going to do another test piece now. So I've changed this guide for a 6mm one. You get different sizes. I'm thinking 6mm might be a bit big for this. I might have to go with a small one. That's the smallest one you can get though in this set. So I might have to go with a smaller one. Let's see. I've never used these furniture screw things before, like I say. So we'll give it a shot, see what happens. That's why we try it on scrap wood first, before we jump straight into his main project. I didn't actually clamp that down either. I should have probably clamped it down, shouldn't I? Never mind. What I did is I just lined it up on that wooden dowel that we'd already put in. Yeah, that's going to be too big, is that? It's never going to tighten into there. Right, so we want a smaller piece, a smaller drill bit than what comes with this kit. We're going to go with a 5mm drill bit, so I'll dig one of them out. Which means we won't be able to use this properly. It'll be something like, well, if we use a 5mm. The hole we drill on the other side is going to be bigger anyway, isn't it? So we're going to need the 6mm hole for the other side, aren't we? Oh, 8mm hole even for the other side. So 6mm, that won't go through. Right, I'll get a different drill bit. We'll try again. Right, got a 5mm bit. A bit baggy in there, isn't it? But it'll do. Still use it as a guide. It'll be all right. Let's see how that works. Hopefully a 5mm bit will be alright. Yeah, feeling better. Yeah, pause it. Pause it. Must be all these if the pauses are not Phillips. Other way around even. There we go. Yeah, 5mm. Cock on. That's solid, is that? Right, drill other ones then. Right, so that's that bit all drilled up now. So as you can see, my dowel holes perfectly aligned along the centre line. And on this edge, we've got a dowel hole and one of them furniture connectors. Same on the other side. Again, all on my line perfectly, all same distancing, everything's same. So I've done that all the way along. That's the top piece done. I think we're going to do the shelves next. Pretty easy, they should be similar to that. The only bit is we've got to put some of them furniture connector holes on the end. So for the most part, these shelves are pretty similar. So we're going to have 4 dowel holes on the bottom, and then we're going to have 3 screw holes. So one in between the dowel holes, and then one bang in the middle. I say in the middle, these are about... they're just over 400mm of these boards. They're meant to be 400, so they're just over. So I'll measure 200mm from the front edge. I've marked up every board, what's front, which is the left, which is the right, etc, etc. So screw holes 1, 2, 3. They'll go all the way through and fix the parts in between, and then there'll be dowel holes to hold them from the top. So that should be pretty solid when I've got plenty of glue on it and stuff like that. So I'll drill that through, and then we're going to countersink these as well. Right, we've drilled all those holes for his upright pieces. We just need to figure out how to use this bit now for these furniture fixing screws. So, it says here, measure that, and then I think we set that to that height. So, again, we're going to use a test piece. Make sure we get it right first time. That is 33mm. So we'll get that. There's a key for this in here somewhere. I'm guessing we set that to 33mm. 33 on one side, 33 and a bit on the other side. It's as good as it's getting. I'll nip that up, and then we put this in here and we clamp that down ish, but not fully. This goes on this side,
Oh, goes on that side, but the right way around. We nip these up. And then we've got to adjust this to the middle, I believe. So we want that to be 9mm, don't we? I think that is pretty much 9mm, which should be making that a centre of a piece of wood. Right, so let's get this. This is a test piece again. Sacrificial piece of wood. And you clamp it on. So let's do it to the edge so we know what we're looking at. We can measure that bit of wood then, can't we, as well? So we are we 9mm in? Yeah. Right, so that's bang on its centre. So clamped up in the centre, I believe now all we do is drill for, oh that's a big one, wrong size. Good job someone's concentrating and it wasn't me. So we're going to use an 8mm and we need to get it right down to there, don't we? Right, I'll get some drill bits set up, we'll test it and we'll see where it's going. Right, so we've drilled us all there and then the other bits there. Did have to drill them ones a bit deeper, I forgot about that because the plugs are as big. So hopefully, I used a 7mm drill bit. So yeah, they got together quite nice. And that should tighten up against that thing. Right, so the Texas screwy note that is. It's in. That's the bit you'll see. So obviously this is just a bit of scrap wood, but well, that's damn solid. So that jig works quite well, to be honest with you. I'm quite happy with that. Yeah. Cool. Right, so I'll get on. I'll drill the best of these bits. And that's it really. I don't think there's much else. So I'll get all these shelves drilled how I need them. And then we'll mess around with end bits. Right, we're on day 2 now. I got hungry yesterday and that was it. Once I wanted to eat, I was done. So I edited the bits of video I had last night. There's a lot of it, by the way. Should be about 35 minutes in now if you're still watching. I edited them and I realised I never actually showed this actually being used for doing these cuts. So I've only got these 2 left to do. I thought I'll show you one now, just so you see how it is used. In case you buy one and you want to see how it works. It's a bit of a pain to figure out, to be honest. So you clamp it on, up to your edge, and then we'll just drill straight down into there. That's his receiving hole for the furniture screw. And then we need to drill a hole going into it. Like I said, I'm using a 7mm one. On a bit. So that's the receiving hole. So that's where your screw bit from the other piece goes into. Just like IKEA furniture. And then we need a hole for the plug. And because I'm lazy and I haven't bothered changing the depth gauge on that, this needs to go a bit deeper. Because it sticks out of the other piece a bit further. Sorted. So that's how you drill them. Fairly simple once you get the hang of it. So I'm just going to finish these off now, and after that all I've got to do is drill some dowel holes in these and a couple of pilot holes for the screws. So something to note, I'm pretty much finished now. So I'm going to drill all these holes and then we'll move on to the next step. Right, last bit now and then we're done. Just got the edging trim to put on. So, not my favourite tool, is it, an iron? Not particularly great with them, but needs must. So how I do it is, done this quite a few times in the past. Get it where I want it, masking tape it in place. You're meant to put a bit of paper across it to protect it anyway. So if you put a bit of masking tape on, kill two birds with one stone. Holds it in place and it protects it from getting burnt. Just make it a little bit proud of the top. So they are wider than your piece of wood of these. It's 18mm is this, and this tape's 19mm. So once you've got it in place, you've got to trim it down with a chisel afterwards. And then just put that along there just to protect it when you're ironing it. And that's it. Iron it on, trim it up. Job's a good one. See it's activating on this front edge. Let's make sure that's nice and stuck down. And we'll move on to the back edge. Oh, put too much pressure on it there. It's the edges where you got to pay real attention to. So start peeling, that's it. Right, just hold it in place a bit now. Put some pressure in middle basically. It looks like it's alright, because the glue's gone off. You can actually see the glue start to melt out when you do it right. Yeah, that should be alright. I've got a couple of little chips in that bit. Not to worry. I've got some Bloke effect filler. It'll match this up lovely. You'll never notice, but it's actually been filled. And that's it. So I want to chisel along this edge here. Quick tap with a bit of sandpaper. Job's a good one. Right, we've got all those bits upstairs. We're ready to get cracking now. So I'll just double check it all. All those lines mark up lovely. So that's his 3 shelves and his lid. This is all of those slats that go in between to make our shelves. So they all line up lovely. 2 side panels, again, they line up perfect. And then we've just got his fixings. So that's what we're going to be using to chuck it together. And tools. So let's get on with it, see how it goes. Right, well, part 1 should be fairly easy this. Take the shelves. And we're just going to bang all the plugs in where we need them. So 4 in here. Do you know, I'm not going to use any glue either, because these are a really nice solid fit, so I don't think I'm going to need any. And then after that we're just going to bang these little doohickeys, I don't know what they're called, we're going to bang them into place. And then we'll screw these on. So I'll do that and I'll show you that bit. So we've got 3 supports screwed onto the shelf now, as you can see. So that's the top shelf. Do the same with the next one, clamp it together, do the same with the next one, clamp it together. And that should be the basis of a unit. So we'll do that and we'll see how it goes. I'll get them all like to this stage and we'll see if they'll slot together. Right, moment of truth now. See if they'll stack. I'm going to paint a line up, but should should just slot together. That's it. I'll have to tweak them to get them lined up on plugs properly and stuff. They should just slot together now. Let's see where we're at. Inside. Looks good. Looks good. There we go, all lined up. So, yeah, lock it into place. Looking good. I just need to tap that middle one home a bit, don't I? But other than that, I think we're there. So they're absolutely bloody solid with them as well. I hope we don't need a clue. Right, get the next one on. Hopefully that lines up just as well. Look. That's not too bad, is it? Looks alright, man. Just needs a bit of a tap home. I say, once they're in, I don't think they're coming out anytime soon now. Right, last piece on this. This is just for the baseline. Get a bit of extra support in the middle. And that is the main of the unit done. Right, we need to get the side panels on now. Right, next bit side panels. So we need some doohickey connectors here. I'd love to know what they're really called, these. I did have a quick Google, but all I could find was the term furniture connector used. So we'll stick with doohickeys. I prefer doohickeys to furniture connectors. So that's where the top screws in to hold it all together. So it's all screwed in at the bottom of these base. Once the top's in, it should pull it all together nicely. Right, so now we need some of these in to hold the panels on the end. So they're a lovely tight fit with that 5mm hole. Switch to a Phillips from a Posse, because we've got both, so why not? That's one. So far it's coming together pretty well, is it? So I'm quite happy with it. I was a bit worried they were going to be like really wonky when they look next to each other. There's odd one way you can see a fraction out, but yeah, not too bad at all, man. Not too bad. To say I winged it all the way through, and it was just something that was in my mind that I never really did a proper drawing of all out. I just scribbled it on paper and off I went. I think it's turned out alright. But to be fair, that's how I go through life generally. I have an idea, and I just fucking do it. I find it normally works out alright, and if it don't, you fix it on the fly, don't you? It's too short to worry about fucking up. Just do it. So now we need some plugs on here. Now I'm cleaning all my marks off. I've been cleaning all my alignment marks off as I've been going. I've just left an F on one piece on each side so that I know where the front is and stuff like that. You won't be able to see them anyway. Right, so I'll clean this up and then we'll attempt to slot it on that end. See how that goes. Right, this is ready to go on now. Just a knocking stick, just in case. Hopefully we won't need it. There we go. Now once these are in, tighten them screws up, and that is it. Absolutely solid unit. Plug's a bit bent there. I can see that it's a bit bent. Should go. There we go. Just needed starting right. I knew these were going to be a bit more awkward to get on. But as you can see, everything's lined up. All of them are in. Just needs tapping home and tightening up. Again, do them screws up, and that side is done. So that'll pull tight there. It looks like there's a gap there in a minute, but it'll pull tight. Right, try it right side on. Just a pain to get everything lined up to start off, really. Must have been. It's gone a bit better on it anyway. But yeah, once they're in, they're not too bad. Proper done with my hammer. Knocking stick. Well, that side looks a lot nicer. Pulled together. Give me a screwdriver and nip them up. See how they got together. Nicely. That's at least fairly straightforward. A few plugs all the way along. Quite a few plugs. And then other end, 2 furniture connectors. That is it. All the way along. So I'll get them screwed in and we'll see if we can tap it home without smashing it to pieces. Right, moment of truth, people. This fits, we're laughing. If it don't fit, burn it. Easy as. I'll drop it there for now. So I can get round and get it lined up. I won't be looking forward to lining this one up, to be honest. I think it's a bit of a pain. Oh. If you don't get it bang on, it's not going to drop in nice, is it? Right, so the ends are lined up. Just a matter of getting all these plugs lined up. Which they're not bad actually. Just this one here's a touch out. That'll knock over all that. that's going together alright, isn't it? Sweet. Nip them screws up at the side. And that is a completed unit. So I'll nip that up and we'll have a closer look. Right, so it's all gone together alright as that. Quite happy with how it's turned out. So only visible fixings, as you would expect on like an IKEA unit. So then furniture fittings. Other than that, nothing visible, proper piece of furniture. Yeah, looks alright, man. As mentioned, plenty of room on here so you can get your hand in to get a cartridge in. Nice. Again, plenty of room to get a cartridge in. GameCube, bit tight, but you can get a disc in and out of there, no worries. Bit knackered is that. So yeah, overall, I'm happy with that. I think it's turned out alright. Say I'm a total novice at doing this sort of shit. Never made any furniture like this in my life. I think it's turned out quite good. So hopefully that'll be the only custom furniture I need to make. The rest of the stuff I should be able to get off the shelf. Probably just going to go with Billy bookcases for my storage, because I do like them, and I can get them in that colour. So that's going to be the main unit in the middle, big massive TV above it, over on this wall, and then single Billy either side, full size. I do still need to do the plinths on the bottom, like I said. I'm thinking I'm going to put a bit of angle iron on the inside and use magnets to fix them in place. And then I have got a board for the back as well, because I don't want to be able to see behind it. So that's just going to get nailed on. But I did want it to look like a proper bit of furniture, and I think I've accomplished it. Not too bad. Quite happy with that jig. That jig worked well. And that's it with just a little scribble. It's turned out alright. Right then, that's it. Yeah, got it in place. Got my consoles on it, what I've got at the minute, apart from my PS5. And do you know what? I'm really happy with that. I think it looks absolutely cock on there. As well, I was going to put a backer on it. Like, you know, same colour as this. But I actually really like, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but that colour is kind of showing through at the back. It's a bit darker. But I really like it. I really like how it looks. So I'm not going to bother putting a backer on it. I'm still going to put my plinths on down here to cover all my cables and stuff. But yeah, I'm really chuffed with that. I mean, this TV's only a standby. I'm going to have a big 65-inch TV on that wall. And I was going to put the acoustic boards on as well. But I'm not even sure about that, you know. I really like that colour. Ah, decisions. Next step. I want some Billy bookcases either side, just the slim ones. Just to frame it up. And I'm going to put something across the top. I don't know what yet. I haven't decided. Might just be a shelf, just to square it in. Other than that, this wall's pretty much done, apart from the TV, and probably a sound bar at some point as well. So next step for me now is power, SCARTs, all that sort of stuff, the HDMI converters. The stuff I've got is basic at best. So yeah, that's where I'm going to concentrate next. Obviously I still need TVs over there, I need CRTs, I'm working on that. But again, that's just a total separate thing, is that. At the minute I'm concentrating on this. The TV thing's going on in the background. It's an as and when sort of thing, isn't it, buying that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm chuffed to bits with that, man. I think it looks decent. Thought I can't see it because there's a fucking dog in front of it. Needy little bugger, aren't you, friend? Sit down in. Yeah, so that's it. Hope you enjoyed that. Something a bit different, I suppose. And I'll see you again soon with another video. Bye!